Hey there and welcome. Today we're going to unpack the Resilience Vision 2030 report from the Business Continuity Institute. We're going to talk about a pretty radical transformation, how the people who keep businesses afloat during a crisis are about to have their entire job completely rewritten. So just think about it for a second. When a major disruption hits, a cyber attack, a supply chain collapse, maybe even another global pandemic, what's your company's real secret weapon? Who's the person that steps in to steer the ship through all that chaos?
Well, the answer is the resilience professional. But here's the kicker. The person doing this job in 2030 is going to look nothing like their counterpart today. I mean, we're talking about a massive shift from being a technical expert to being a strategic leader. Okay, let's dive into what that really means.
All right, so to really get where we're headed, we've got to look back at where we've been. Let's talk about the old playbook for how we used to handle resilience. In the past, this job was super technical, kind of siloed off from everyone else. The business continuity manager was the person tucked away in a back room, writing these super detailed plans for what to do after a disaster had already hit. And yeah, they were pretty much just seen as a cost center, a necessary expense, sure, but not something that was really adding value. And wow, this quote just perfectly captures that old way of thinking. This manager from Hungary summed it up perfectly. He said resilience was like a spare tire. You're glad you have it when you get a flat, right? But you're not thinking about it as an investment that's helping you win the race. But let's be real, that spare tire mentality just doesn't cut it anymore. Our world is just, well, it's a constant stream of disruption, and that's forcing a massive change in the entire game. So what's really driving all this change? Well, the data points to a few key things, and they're all neck and neck. Right at the top, at almost 80%, we've got new regulations. Hot on its heels is the crazy pace of new technology. And just as important are the pressures from inside the company, the urgent need for different departments to actually work together, and a growing demand for the soft skills to make it all happen. But look, this change isn't easy. So what's the number one thing holding companies back? By a long shot, it's departmental silos. I mean, over 63% of pros point to this as the biggest roadblock. It's that classic problem of the left hand having no idea what the right hand is doing. And that's just a recipe for disaster when a real crisis hits. Okay, so with all that in mind, the drivers, the roadblocks, what does this future Resilience Pro actually look like? Let's meet the 2030 version. And the transformation is, wow, it's night and day. Just look at this. We're going from a technical expert to a strategic leader, from reactive to proactive, from working all alone in a silo to being a collaborator who brings people together. And this is the big one, right? The job is shifting from being a cost center to a value driver, focusing less on just writing plans and more on building a resilient culture for the entire organization. This shift is so huge, so fundamental, that it really demands a seat at the C-suite table. Check this out. A massive, almost 74% of professionals believe organizations need to create a new C-suite role, the Chief Resilience Officer, or CRO. And this isn't just a fancy title. It's about giving resilience the executive power it needs to actually get things done.
And why is that so important? Why the C-suite? Well, this director from the UK just nails it. Resilience now touches everything. Cyber, operations, supply chain, you name it. You need that central focus and leadership from the very top to pull all those threads together.
Okay, so to step into this big new strategic role, the 2030 Pro is going to need a totally upgraded toolkit, both in terms of skills and tech. So what skills matter most? The data is super clear here. Number one, and it's not even close, is strategic leadership. It's not enough to just manage a plan anymore. You have to be able to influence real change. After that comes rock-solid skills in risk management and, of course, a deep, deep understanding of the entire supply chain. And of course, technology is a total game changer here. First up in the new tech arsenal, AI-driven prediction. Just imagine systems that can sift through tons of data to spot potential trouble and warn you about disruptions before they even happen. That's a massive head start. Next up, we've got advanced scenario simulation. Okay, so this is way beyond your standard tabletop exercise. Think of it like a flight simulator for a business crisis. It lets your teams practice making tough calls under very realistic pressure, so they're ready for the real thing. And number three in the tech toolkit is real-time analytics. So instead of dusting off some old plan when a crisis hits, professionals will be looking at live dashboards, monitoring risks as they change minute by minute.
This lets them be flexible and adapt on the fly, instead of being stuck with an outdated script. So what's the bottom line here? What's the big payoff for all this change? It's about completely reframing what resilience means to a business. It stops being a chore and starts being your competitive edge.
And you can really see this in the huge mindset shift that's happening. A full 60% of professionals now say that resilience should actually be seen as a profit center, not just a cost. They see it as a part of the business that actively creates value.
Okay, but how? How does resilience actually make you money? Well, first, the obvious one. It dramatically lowers the huge costs that come with any disruption. But it goes deeper. The whole process of becoming more resilient often shines a light on ways to make your business run better and more efficiently. And finally, an organization that can weather any storm gains this incredible reputation and trust, which is a powerful competitive advantage. And that really brings us to the big takeaway here. We're watching this role transform right before our eyes, from the quiet planner in the back room to a proactive, strategic leader in the boardroom. So look, the question isn't if this is happening, it's happening. The real question is your organization ready for 2030?